In other words, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, at the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben here in Germany for the first time ever. And we are here because the winter is over, the wait is over, and the 2023 season of the ESET Cup Series is beginning this Saturday with the 1 hour long endurance race. So welcome for the first time ever here at Oschersleben for the ESET Cup Series. We are here for the first round of the total 6 of this season. We are going to be racing in Germany, in Hungary, in Austria, also in the Czech Republic twice, and also in Slovakia. So lots of racing action awaiting us this season, and lots of beautiful cars that are making their way to the starting grid as we are speaking. We had the qualifying for the endurance race earlier on today. As you may see, the weather has not been terribly nice to us, really. It's quite cold and it's overcast, but it's definitely a little better than what it was earlier on today for the qualifying, because it was actually raining, it was wet earlier on today, and the drivers had to tackle wet weather conditions with wet weather tires, and the qualifying in changing conditions actually, because they were actually switching from wets to dries to the slick tires. And as we see the beautiful, beautiful B8 Alpina, our safety car for the second season running, it's a beautiful, wonderful machine that we are going to see for the opening lap of the race, for the formation lap actually, and then each time there is actually trouble at the racetrack. Let's hope there is not that much of it, but you know, it's hard racing and anything can happen, as the drivers usually say. Now let's go and take a little stroll and little wander through the starting grid, because right behind me there are already racing cars getting ready for the season opener here in Germany. We have got a 6-strong field in the top class, the GT3, and 4 different brands, 4 different machines. So let's see who's who and what's what. We have got on your left-hand side the series returnees. It's the Czech team ISR Racing, Igor Salakvarda Racing, and we see the man himself, Igor Salakvarda, right next to the car. It's the latest generation of the Audi R8 LMS GT3 in the latest Evo 2 spec, and it's Mr. Salakvarda's son, Philip, who is at the wheel of this beauty. He topped the session earlier on today as he switched the slicks at the perfect time and actually beat the rest of the field by over 1 second. So let's actually hear a couple of words from the man himself, from Filip Salakvarda, who sits on pole in his Audi R8 LMS GT3. So Philip, hi. Returning to the series, and you are immediately on pole position. What are you expecting from the race today? It is 1 hour long.
Yeah, we try to do our best. Hopefully, the start we make a good start and we stay in first place. We will see how it goes in the race, but for sure it will be a tough race. We are new in the series, so we don't know. So hopefully it will be fine, and we can stay in the place where we start.
Thank you very much and best of luck for the race. That's Filip Salakvarda, our pole sitter. Right alongside him, the Polish squad Goodspeed Racing team with Piotr Vera and the Dutch driver Dan Pil. And they will be fighting it out to the first corner, on the run down to the first corner at this 3.6 kilometer long racetrack. Row number 2, that is a pretty interesting lineup indeed, because those are our last year's champions. On your left-hand side, that's the Endurance Series champions, Gregor Žigo. He was paired together with Denis Vašek last season, but for this year's championship, he is actually partnered by the BMW Junior Works driver Neil Verhagen, who is currently right now at the steering wheel of his machine, and alongside him last year's Sprint Series champion Libor Milota in the GT2 Motorsport liveried Mercedes AMG GT. As I mentioned, top 6 cars on the grid, those are the GT3 machines, and they are represented by 4 different brands. We've got the Audi R8, we've got the Mercedes AMG GT3, we've got the BMW M4 GT3, and behind us also the Lamborghini Huracan GT3. That's a car prepared by the Slovakian team ARC Bratislava in those legendary day-glow yellow colors with all the colorful stripes running down the bonnet and across the roof. So these cars are forming the top GT3 field, and behind them the rest of the pack. We've actually got other categories as well. We've got GTX, we've got GT4, and we've also got the TCR machine prepared by Aditis Racing Team, shared by Radim Adamek, and last year's TCR Eastern European champion Bartosz Groszek. But we have got here with the KTM GTX the pairing of Petr Lisa and Pavel Sovička. Alongside them it's the BMW M4 GT4 driven by one of the local drivers, Bastian Hein, in the GT4 machinery. And because we are really getting closer to the start of the race itself, we will have to leave the grid in a couple of minutes, but before that let's still see some of the other wonderful, wonderful, wonderful cars. Legendary Pagani Zonda on the grid in the Rock Robots livery, and Antonín Herbeck, Czech driver, behind the steering wheel. This is a car that has been with us already for some time, but still running wild and running very, very loud indeed. So cars getting started right now as we approach the hour, as we approach the minute, and we are going to get racing with a rolling start actually here in Germany at Oschersleben for the 60 minutes that are going to entertain us right now. So this is the rest of the pack. This is the car that was actually crashed during qualifying. Petr Brecka behind the wheel. And also remaining cars, that's Radim Adamek together with Bartosz Groszek with the Aditis Racing prepared Audi RS3, and also the pairing of Laha and Gosic from the Lemma Racing in the GT4 field. So make sure you are very well seated, and let's enjoy the 60-minute race to open the season of 2023. The winter is over, the wait is over, and we are about to get ready. We are about to go racing. We are about to get loud here at Oschersleben.
across the last apex, you need to start braking. There's also a little bump and a little undulation of the track itself. So you've got to time your braking point absolutely perfectly, not to lock up your front tire.
harika. legyen, és a hátulja lóg, apa.
Jó, oké. Ugye megbízom. Remény. első kettőkkel lép, ugye?
And the one driven by Philippe Salaquarda is now entering the pit lane and about to serve his mandatory pit stop. The Good Speed Racing's Mercedes, though, still remaining on the track. So the Merc actually has a 6.3-litre V8 engine. That's where all the rumble and roar is coming from. Then you've got the Audis and your Lamborghinis, which are pretty much based on the same engine, and they've got the 5.2-litre V10, no less. And then you've got the BMW M4, which contrary to its predecessor, which was the M6, which had a 4.4-litre V8. This, well, the M4 now only has a 3-litre straight six, so a very different configuration to your Audis and Mercs. And of course the Lamborghini Huracan, already mentioned, to have the same similar engine to the Audi. Salaquarda seems to still be in the pits, which means, at least according to the live timing screen, that it should be now Libormilota leading. It doesn't seem really right. It's going to be a little confusing for a couple of laps, really, before all the strategies meet back. And before we know what the race order is, Philippe Salaquarda, having served his pit stop, he is exiting the pit lane. Now he's having to negotiate that difficult chicane here, and he's re-entering the track. There he goes in his Audi. No other car anywhere near him, which means that he is presumably holding on to the race lead. Actually only making his way around the last corner right now, so that gap between the Audi and the BMW opened quite a lot during the pit stop. So interesting, we still have to wait and see until all the pit window, all the pit stop round basically is finished, which actually should be done by this point. As the pit window is already closed.
Libor Milota in the pits. So the GT2 Motorsport car is in the hands of its mechanics. And Libor Milota serving his mandatory pit stop right now. There is the Good Speed Racing's Merc now overtaking Gregor Gigot, and that should actually be for P2 now. So we are now coming around the final corner of the track. And these are battles for the podium places. Ooh, a little bit crazy, a little bit wild entering the first corner for the Good Speed Racing's team. But there is Philippe Salaguarda, absolutely unfazed by anyone. He did have a beautiful fight with Neil Verhagen in the first stint of the race. However, it seems that the Trevor Racing's pit stop was unnecessarily long, which is definitely a bit of a shame, because that fight for the top spot is now discontinued. So the live timing actually says regarding the race leader that it now should be Dan Arrow, having replaced Piotr Vera at the wheel. I'm going to have to check about that. Either way, it's the Good Speed Racing's Mercedes. Libor Milota naturally falling down the order as he served his pit stop, and that also means that Philippe Salaguarda is coming back towards the lead of this race. Well, interestingly, it still appears that the Good Speed Racing car has not been in the pits yet, which is weird because by this point the pit window should already be, well, way past closed. Either way, it's the car number 14 in the race lead from the car number 75. Then we've got presumably Libor Milota, and then Gregor Gigot in fourth. Lissa sharing the car with Pavel Sovichka. They are running in fifth. They are one of the two GTX cars, but the only one left on the track and in the race by this point, because the other car is driven by Tony Herbeck, Antonin Herbeck, that Pagani Zonda, prepared by the Rock Robots team. That car ran into technical issues earlier on, well, quite early on in the race, needs to be said, and is out for the remainder of it. 11 minutes 20 left on the clock for the season opener here in Germany at Oschersleben. As I mentioned, it is the only 60-minute long race. So definitely has a very different dynamic to it, as of course all the tactics need to be taken into the equation. Tomorrow it is just going to be 6 sprints, 1 followed by the other. And everything should be a little bit more packed, a little bit more tightly contested. So we are about to enter the last 10 minutes of the race. This should still be the leading Merc. But it is still yet to pit. I didn't see any specific issues for the ISR Racing's Audi in the pit lane that would have delayed the car in any way, which would have moved Philippe Salaguarda way down the order. There's still quite a lot of lap time, there's quite a lot of time between the leading Goodspeed Racing's Mercedes and the second placed Audi. And the Audi is still, what, 3/4 of a minute behind. But the Merc is still going on. There's the Audi lapping some of the slower cars. No issues with that, but this is still the virtual race leader. One thing is sure, definitely, and that is that the fight between the Audi of Auto ISR, the ISR Racing's team, together with the M4 GT3 car of Trevor Racing, shared by Gregor Gigot and Neil Verhagen, that's ended with the pit stop, because definitely the Trevor Racing's visit to the pit lane was much longer. It needs to be said that there's wonky difference between them, actually. Of course, Philippe Salaguarda remaining in his car, as he is not sharing his driver's duties with anyone else. On the other hand, though, with the Trevor Racing's car, that's a car that is performing, or let's say did perform, the driver swap. But we didn't see any issues there. But still, it seems that the car lost quite a lot of valuable time there in the pits. The Merc, the leading Merc, still going on. So Goodspeed Racing's car still in the lead, shared by Piotr Vera and Dan Arrow. Philippe Salaguarda in second, Libor Milota currently third, and Gregor Gigot in fourth. That's the GT3 battle. 7.5 minutes from home, from the end of the race. So, checking the live timing screen, still a couple of pretty weird things going on there. Okay, so the Goodspeed Racing's car, there is a number 1 in the column of performed pit stops, which would mean that the current race lead, the car number 14, has actually served the pit stop. But the rules say that you must spend at least 2 minutes in the pit lane, 2 minutes stationary. That is, of course, well, a rule that has been in the GT racing or endurance racing for some time. Previously, as everyone was trying to really speed up and hurry with the driver swaps, it led to situations where drivers would not really be secured in the car properly, the seat belts wouldn't be fastened properly, etc., etc., which is definitely not what you want. The safety still needs to come first in motorsport in any shape or form, and That led to this rule being introduced, where in endurance racing a car has to spend 2 minutes in the pits when a driver swap is performed. Of course, that is to give the team all the time they need to actually properly perform the driver swap, really make sure that everything is secured, everything is in place, nothing has been done hastily, and nothing has been compromised. And it still seems that Good Speed Racing didn't really adhere to this rule, because at least the live timing screen tells us that the pit time of the Good Speed Racing Mercedes was 1 minute 34 seconds, not 2 minutes. And any other car went past that. So we see Filip Salaquarda 2 minutes, Libor Milota 2 minutes 2, Gregor Žigo 2 minutes 5, Bastian Hein 2 minutes 9, etc, etc, etc. But regarding the Good Speed Racing's car, we only have 1 minute 34. 1 minute 34 there. And it is a little confusing, because I'm not sure we did see the car enter the pit lane at all. But then the car actually miraculously found pace and fought its way up through the field and into the race lead. So the live timing and the graphics show and say that that is the race leader, presumably with Dan Arrow behind the wheel, having replaced Piotr Vera in the racing driver's office. That is all fine, and there is also a one pit stop registered to this car. However, it seems to have been too short. So that basically means that whatever the outcome is going to be at the end of this race might still actually have a big asterisk on it, and might still be subject to scrutiny, because the race directors might want to have a look at that. There is the Polish car, there is the Good Speed Racing's Mercedes, following Libor Milota. And that is not the fight for position. Libor Milota is about to be lapped. There's the Audi, which would have been the theoretical race winner. Just under 3 minutes left on the clock right now. But what is going on about that Good Speed Racing's Mercedes? It's still quite a mystery to me, really. We didn't really properly see the pit stop itself, as we weren't in the pits with the car. However, it does not seem to have gone all well with the car anyway. And what is even more interesting is that, well, Filip Salaquarda hasn't lost pace. He's still driving pretty nicely. His best lap time of the race was 1:23.6. The previous lap, 1:24.3. So, yeah, he has lost a little compared to his personal best, but not that much. When it comes to the Merc, it has registered the fastest lap of 1:23.2, so some 0.4 of a second faster than the Audi. And Dan Arrow is now ahead of Libor Milota, but that was, as I mentioned, not for place, not for position. If everything is correct according to the live timing screens, then Libor Milota must now be a full lap down on the other Stuttgart car. Just under 1 minute left in this race. just under 1 minute. And then the first endurance race of the season will be over. So this must mean that we are on the final lap of the race. Honestly speaking, the order is still quite confusing regarding the events of the pit stops. But according to the live timing, at least, which takes real-time data from the racing car's transponders, that says that the Good Speed Racing's Merc is first on the road and therefore leading the race. However, we still remain unsure about the pit stop being served properly and correctly. So, there we go, the time is up, and through the last pair of S's we go, and now only the remaining two right-handers for the Merc to be negotiated. There we are, currently exiting the last corner of the track, the 3.6 kilometer Oschersleben Motorsport Arena, and there we go, across the line. But the checkered flag not being shown just yet. There is no +1 rule in ESET Cup Series. Really, when the time is up, the race is over. Well, the first time we cross the line, the race is over. We are not doing +1 lap as some other championships have adopted over the years. But we did not see the checkered flag right now. Let's see what is going on the start and finish straight when Philippe Salaguarda drives across the line. And he is about to do it right now. Unfortunately, we are not following it just yet, but now the checkered flag is waved, and Philippe Salaguarda has finished. So that's the Good Speed Racing's Mercedes finishing another lap, and now the flag is being waved. There we go, that's the checkered flag. Is that the race leader? Well, the live timing says so. That's pretty interesting. There's Libor Milota across the line as well. He definitely did not win this one. But we are now waiting for Philippe Salaguarda to come across the line once again. And he is still on the track at full speed. There he is. Yeah, we're going to have a word about this, because honestly, I'm really trying to make any sort of sense of it for you to properly understand the race, but we can't really do right now. Philippe Salaguarda coming out of the last corner and crossing the finishing line. The checkered flag being shown to the Czech driver, who I actually strongly believe should be the race winner. Then we've got Gregor Žigo across the line as well in the M4 GT3, fielded by Trevor Racing. This is the Aditis Racing TCR machine, actually finishing the race in the end, although we saw the car stationary for some time at the side of the track. Okay, Good Speed Racing's Mercedes being the winner according to the live timing. But what happened during that pit stop, I am really curious to learn, and we're definitely going to have a word about that. But for now, I definitely put it to you that the Good Speed Racing's Mercedes AMG GT3 is the race winner, at least for the time being, the car being shared by Piotr Vera and Dean Arrow. Philippe Salaguarda second on the road. From third place, Libor Milota, Gregor Žigo fourth, Bastian Hein winning the GT4 class. In fifth place overall, P6 overall goes to Petr Lisa and Pavel Sovička in the GTX KTM. They end up 6th on the road. Petr Brecka 7th in his GTC Porsche. Zeno Kováč P8 overall and 2nd in the GT4 class. And then the pairing of Radim Adamek and Bartosz Groszek P9 in the only TCX machine on the road. 4 cars, well, let's say 3 cars retired from the race. That was the GT4 Mercedes of Lemmer Racing. It was also Miro Konopka's Lamborghini from ARC Bratislava Racing Team and Antonín Herbek in his Pagani Zonda. We also lost Duck Racing's Dan Skalický before the race had even begun. So, that is it for the endurance race, the season opener of 2023. Ending up with a little bit of a confusion. But no matter, we are going to soldier on anyway. And tomorrow we will be back with racing action. I already mentioned at 9:55, around that time, maybe a little earlier on, with the grid walk. If we manage to squeeze that in, and that's going to be the first GT sprint of the season, followed by the TCR race number 1, Renault Clio Cup race number 1, and then after the lunch break we will do that same trio once again to finish a fully packed Sunday racing program from the season opening round here at Motorsport Arena. Oschersleben, my name is Pavel Fabry, I am your commentator for the weekend, so I now wish you all the very best for the evening. Enjoy it, and we will be back with more racing action tomorrow morning. So until then, it is a very warm goodbye.